Hey everybody, this is Metaphysical Matters for April the 9th, 2020. We're with psychic Angela Faye Moore. I'm Kim Clark, and Angela, I think we've got Zoom working. It's amazing.
Well, we've not been on here long enough to know if we got Zoom working. We have to find out the hard way.
Actually, it's so funny. Every time we get ready to do something, I don't know if there's some force that doesn't want us to do it, but everything that can go wrong will go wrong. First we start.
Honestly,
Yeah,
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, first we started on my laptop, and that wasn't working. Then I got my Chromebook, and then on my Chromebook, it did not give me the option to record. So then I got Ellen's laptop, and while I'm trying to get hers on, then Angela's Chromebook freezes up.
Every time, too, I have noticed it's like I am trying to, like, I want to show somebody something, and I'm in a hurry on the internet, and like I have my computer, I'm trying to get to it, or even my phone. If I'm in a hurry and I'm trying to get it on there to show them whatever, it will freeze on here a bit too. It says I'm using too much internet right now, and that's what I now it's the same internet is. That's it. It's not because nothing's on except for the TV. It's just very bad. Go ahead. I'm depressed. Can't get nothing to work.
Well, you really froze up there for a minute, but it looks okay now. So let's just carry on and see what happens.
It's going to be a bumpy ride. I'm sorry. It's the internet, not me. Go ahead.
Well, speaking of a bumpy ride, it seems like we're all on a bumpy ride right now. So what are your comments for the energy this week? I mean, we all know what the overriding event is that's affecting everybody's lives, but how does it feel to you today?
I don't even know how to comment on that. It's like I've lost all sense of time and space, and I'm just in a fog. So I guess that's how it is. I think that having a routine established with the homeschool and stuff is helping balance. So I think that's the only thing that feels like a very unbalanced thing. Yeah, I want to say it feels like an unbalancing. And then as we have to kind of do this and kind of do that in order to get our balance back, it's making us learn new stuff about who we are, about who others are, about what we really need, what we thought we need. And we keep doing this, I think, until we find our grounding, find our balance, and then maybe we can manage things even better. And one way to establish that for a lot of people is to establish a routine. If you can do that, it's very, very helpful. And as I work at home anyway, for me, it's not as difficult. But when I have a kid now that I have to homeschool, okay, I have no comment. I'm working on it.
I'll tell you what I've been going from one extreme emotion to the other. Not like I'm, running through the house raging and 1 minute and crying the next, but like 1 minute I'll feel okay. 1 minute I'll feel happy. The next minute I feel anxiety ridden. The next minute I feel annoyed. I mean, it's almost like somebody's got a remote control and it's just flipping through my emotional channels really fast.
That's you trying to find your balance. You're going that back and forth, like I said, and that's with you. It just seems to be maybe happening on hyperdrive more than on, a more casual scale. And maybe that's how it will be with some people. Plus, I think anxiety expresses itself in that way too. And I think it seems to me like Aquarians do have a little bit of a harder time. I'm not an astrologer. All I can tell you is from what I see and what I have learned just through simple observation over my life. And it does seem to me right now they are having a harder time finding that grounding balance.
Yeah. And I've also found that, and I've heard other people say this, like online and just people I've talked with, once all the things that you use on a regular basis to define who you are, your job, your activities, what you do every day, that's just kind of the boundaries of you. Once those things have been stripped away, like they have now, or put on hold, I almost feel like I don't quite know who I am like the ego's fallen away a little bit. And I think that's probably a good thing in some ways, but it's really,
Disturbing.
yeah, it's very unnerving.
And I think that that again is part of who you are. You got to kind of get down when you're being forced into a situation like this. You know, I think that we have to look at maybe a spiritual reason behind it. And again, that is to maybe tear away all that is surface to get down to the basic, get down to who the core being that is you. You know what I just noticed?
What?
You're both wearing black. You never wear black. I've never seen you wear black. And I don't know why I chose black today, probably because that was what was clean, to be honest. But I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I felt weirdly about it. So I think, too, this may be reflecting maybe a mood, but also it's in our culture, you know, repellent for maybe bad things. It's a lot of stuff. Do you know in other countries, not all other countries, in some, I think Asian countries, and I won't swear to it, at funerals, they wear white because they consider white to be a color that would repel evil, like any evil spirits that might be there because of a death or whatever. And whereas here we go the opposite way, and we go to the black, which is, you know, I guess to represent grief and dark feelings or whatever. Mm-hmm. But maybe also because in our culture we consider that to be something that repels negativity. I don't know. I'm just wondering about it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. Well, do you think that with all of the fear and the upset that's out here right now in the field, that we are attracting maybe some not such good spirits that might be coming in to kind of feed on us?
Anytime. That's very good. Anytime you've got a lot of breaking down, okay, it's got to be put back together, right? And if there's any wayward entities out there that would like to be part of that, they're going to try to join right in. And one way I think that you invite them in is by losing your emotional cool and by, you know, going into a dark place mentally. You got to find that balance so that you stay in as good a place as you can. You know, exercise is really good too. You know, if you can't get out, do it in your home, whatever way. Anything to keep that balance going, because yes, it's like, you know, there's this old gospel hymn, and it's when Jesus set my heart all to pieces, he put a little sunshine in. Well, your heart right now, and in this environment, I feel is being taken all to pieces. And when you put it back together, maybe try to put a little sunshine back in there and avoid the darkness and any of those negative things, the fear and the anxiety. You know, a little bit of fear is not a bad thing. It's what keeps you alive. You know, it's what keeps you from not jumping off a cliff or something. But you got to, again, keep that anxiety and fear in place so that it don't overtake and color everything else that it makes up you. You know, again, it goes back to that balance and you know, remembering this is not our forever place. You know, it's not.
I certainly hope that's the case. Last week, I watched what you did last week, and I thought, I love it when you're solo and take questions. I thought that was, you know, I thought you talked about some really interesting stuff.
Maybe remember that far away, but thank you. Thank you.
You talked
my website, by the way, if anybody wants to go back and look at it, AngelaFayeMoore.com. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Well, you talked about birds a little bit, and you had sent me before we knew that we weren't going to be able to get together last week because of the stay-at-home stuff. You had sent me a note that said birds are talking to us, and then the last time I came over to your house, you were busy painting birds. So maybe you want to elaborate a little bit on what's going on with birds?
I would love to. Unfortunately, I have no memory of that. I'm thinking, though, that someone maybe said that to me, that she felt that the birds were talking to her. And I do feel that when I hear them, you know, spring and they're chattering and everything, you know, they're busy making their families and stuff, that maybe they are in some way speaking to our spirit in words that we cannot consciously understand. But maybe they're telling us that life, this is just in, by the way, this just in, that life is about renewal. It's about springtime, which is about refreshment, renewal. It's about Easter, you know, the promise of a renewal and rebirth. So I think that maybe even though we may not understand that this bird is telling its mate to go fetch a worm, maybe if we can understand through their actions and through their song, through their focus on their family, that they're saying, start over. It's okay. Springtime is here. It's a time to refresh, renew, and maybe cast away all that was. Maybe this is another reason that, we have to like realize, what, why am I carrying this extra weight into this new leg of my journey? Why am I holding on to this heartache as I travel into the next leg of my journey? Maybe it's time. And when I feel compelled to paint something, I do think that that is speaking to me personally, or I wouldn't feel compelled to paint it. And I also feel that sometimes I give things to people because I feel like it was for them, and maybe it's supposed to speak to them. Even if they don't get it, it could be speaking to their unconscious mind. And, I don't know. That's all I got to say about that, old gal.
Okay. Well, speaking of birds, I did want to share a pretty cool encounter I had last week with a hawk. Hawks are in our area right now, basically flocks of hawks, but of course they're solitary hunters. But I was coming out of my house, and there's a power line, of course, alongside the road, and there was a big hawk, red-tailed hawk, sitting on it. And I just stopped to look up at it. And when I did, it looked back down at me. Like, most of the time you don't even register, right? You don't even register to them. But I was looking at the hawk, and it looked down at me. We made eye contact.
Wow.
The hawk and I, and that was powerful.
That's amazing. I think that is awesome. I know, what you're talking about when you actually connect in that way with an animal, bird, whatever it is. There's something otherworldly about it. It transcends.
Yeah.
That would be that right now for you too, that the hawk is probably your spiritual mascot, and whatever things that you attribute, whatever characteristics you attribute to the hawk would be maybe speaking to you right now, lessons to be learned. One of the things that the hawk represents, if I'm not mistaken, and I'm not, is that they can go very high and they can look very far out there and see, what's down the road. So maybe in your world right now, in helping your balance, it would help you to not look right here, because it'll make you crazy. You look way down there so that you can say, there's my goal, there's what I'm going to be doing, there's how I am. And I feel like it's kind of important that we all, maybe we're talking about it, so maybe you people that are listening right now, there you are, maybe this is also for you, a reminder that maybe the hawk is your mascot too right now. And I've never called it mascot before, but that's what's coming out. But your totem right now, okay, to rise above your situation and look ahead and see what's down there so you can see where you need to be. And don't worry about how you get there, because I feel like if you're saying that's where you're supposed to be, is your higher self, your higher being, whatever, is saying that's where you're supposed to focus. This is why you're getting the impulse to think about that place in the future. Then whether it be like a relationship, a home, an idea, whatever, then you just think about that. You daydream about that. And then I think what will happen is you will have these doors open. You will have opportunities come up. You won't maybe even see how you're getting there. It's like this. It's like you might be blindfolded. You don't see where you're going, but you make a good time, okay, anyway. And then I think as you come nearer to getting to that goal, to that place, then you are going to be able to say, oh, now I get it. Now I can see the rest of the way. Or maybe I can look back and see, okay, now I get it. Now I see where I've been and how all those challenges that made no sense to me whatsoever, it's like, now I get it. And I got to step away a minute because I got a nose itch and I'm going to sneeze.
Okay.
Carry on.
All right. Well, I just wanted to share, when you said we're making good time, we don't want to be like this lady that I grew up with. She actually owned a diner out there up 64, as we say, in Burke County. And anyway, she and her husband, I might have told you this story one time, she and her husband were going on a road trip to Florida or somewhere. And he was driving, but he fell asleep and she was driving, and she made a wrong turn and realized she'd made the wrong turn and went hundreds of miles out of the way while he was asleep. But she said, I was making such good time, I just hated to turn around.
I don't even know how to say that.
But we don't want to be that person. Listen, let me ask you, I have heard you actually mention this, and I've heard some other people around here mention it, and I've seen it myself. What do you feel is the deal with all of these helicopters we're seeing all of a sudden around here?
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm asking everybody.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if maybe they're doing some sort of searching for fire, because, you know, we're under a fire warning because it's so dry right now. I think it's going to rain, though, and maybe they'll take care of a lot of it for a little while. But it made me think maybe they're doing some surveying for that. I don't know, but I don't feel comfortable with it. It's making me nervous. I do feel it's some sort of surveillance. At first I thought, oh, it must be they're looking at the power lines, because I know Deep Power does that. But I don't think they're Deep Power, Duke Energy now. I don't think it's their helicopters. The fact that they're black and so low,
Yeah.
it makes me nervous, and I can't tell you why. I wish they would announce these things and let people be aware. Don't just doing some surveys, just tell us a lie. I don't care. I just don't want to worry about it. But I don't feel comfortable with it. I just don't. I feel maybe it's just the energy that it is right now, but it just makes me nervous. And I feel like, you know, probably there's nothing there. It's probably doing some sort of surveying, and probably is doing something very legitimate and necessary, but it just has a weird vibe, and I'm not going to say it don't. I'm the worst psychic ever. I didn't know this. It might come to me. You know, a lot of times things do come to me, you know, when I'm not looking. But if I sit and try really hard. But I'll tell you the truth. I'll be honest with you. The fact that it's not coming right to me bothers me. Okay, the fact that it gave me a sense of fear when I first saw it bothers me. The fact that I think it's being shielded somehow, it bothers me. So the only thing I'm going to, because that isn't norm for me. So I actually do think it's some sort of surveillance. I think it might be related to the environment, whatever that means. Next.
The helicopter that I've seen here, now I've heard a bunch of them go over really low. I haven't run out, you know, to see every time, but the one I saw really close up was yellow. I mean, with no markings on it. It's very strange.
Okay, all the ones we're seeing are black.
And, you know, that's just like the quintessential, you know,
yeah, I know.
New World Order kind of stuff.
Yeah, somebody had said, you know, there was fire in Asheville, and that was having to do with that, but they're coming from like all the way down in Hickory and New York. So, you know, I don't know. I don't feel like that's it at all, but it was low. It even landed over there at Ingalls.
What'd you say? It landed at Ingalls?
Mm-hmm. Somebody told me it landed. One of them landed at Ingalls.
Okay, now see, that's just weird. You don't land a helicopter at a shopping center for no
Well,
reason.
you know, it wasn't in Ingalls parking lot. It was beside it there in that vacant lot.
That's weird.
Well, I know. That's why we're talking about it.
I just, wow. And the other thing we've seen out here, out in the country, is we're seeing highway patrol out here. We never see highway patrol.
They're surveying. They're surveying. I don't know why, but they are. They're you know, taking names and whatever. They're doing something that's taking advantage of this enclosure and the quarantine. They're taking advantage of it to do some sort of surveying. That's all I know.
Do you still feel like that this lockdown, you know, quarantine, stay at home, whatever, is kind of cover for something as well as?
I think yes and no. I think that we're being quarantined because there's a very nasty virus, and we're trying to flatten it out so that we will be able to get health care if we need it, because it won't be overwhelmed all at one time. Simple as that. I think that, as I said before, I think nature is fighting back because it's trying to survive. And you know what? The Pope just made in his sermon said the same thing, and I thought, yes, I'm not the only one picking up on that energy. Having said that, do I think there are maybe governmental enemies, not enemies, governmental entities
Yeah.
would take advantage of this to see what might happen if we poke this and what might happen if we pull that. You know, what would this do? How would that do? Or, hey, let's take advantage of this in order to do that and this and the other. Yeah, I think that they're all over it. I think they're using it for germ warfare. They're using it to study to see what happens when people are told to quarantine, who listens, who breaks it, how does this travel. I think there's all kinds of very positive things that can be learned from it, but also a lot of dark and scary things. And there are a lot of dark and scary people out there that will absolutely take advantage of a situation to learn things for ulterior motives. I mean, that's just the way it is. See my shirt, by the way, today? Sure, you can trust the government. Hold on. And then there's a picture of Geronimo. It says, just ask an Indian. I actually bought that from a Native American. So anyway, I don't know. I don't know. I just feel that I'm not overly trusting of the powers that be. I'm just not.
No.
I'm not of anybody. Absolute power corrupts absolutely the end, and you got to make sure that it kind of gets scattered out and not all piled onto one person there, because that's not going to end well.
Yeah, or even just one branch or
group. Yeah, you can't.
One group.
You got to spread out the power.
Yeah, because I tell you, I mean, my skepticism is just through the roof, and I see a lot of
has your skepticism not been through the roof? I've never. No, you're the most skeptical person ever. Yeah, if it's even worse, it's trouble.
Now I've been proven to be right.
Yeah, scarily enough, you might have.
Yeah, I think. Well, anyway, we'll have. Here's the thing, though. Whether this event is exactly as we're being told in the mainstream, which is it's a virus, stay home, we're trying to keep everybody safe, or if it's the most extreme conspiracy thing you can come up with, or if it's some combination of the two, it is still an event that we are moving through. And so
yeah,
you just have to deal with it in your life the best you can in the highest integrity, you know, and just trying to keep it together and take advantage of it. And I see so many cool things that are coming out of this. The fact that people are reconnecting with their families, and I know sometimes that's not a good thing, and some, you know, that can be.
Yeah, a lot of abuse, more abuse is happening now because, you know, it's hard to be cooped up with someone you might have issues with anyway.
Absolutely. But maybe in the long run, that'll help to clear out some of those relationships that needed to be cleared out. Now, when kids in this situation, they don't have any control, that's a whole different thing.
It can, but I agree 100%. It could also, as you just said, help you connect with people. My cabinet just opened itself. Sorry, the boy just came in here and got some ravioli and left with he's got a long, you know, teaspoon, and he takes his mini ravioli and he eats it out of the can. But he closed that cabinet and it just now opened itself again. I'll tell you that for no reason. Wow. But anyway, yeah, I think that everything you said, it can absolutely, it's how you look at it. You got a choice. You can look at the negative and be all frustrated, or you can look at the positive and think, you know what, I learned something good about myself today. I learned something good about my partner today. I'm closer now than ever to whomever. So it's all in how you work it.
Yeah, I do think there's an awakening happening, regardless of, again, of what the true story is. But we're opening our eyes to the way our lives were, and, you know, we're having the opportunity, the time out to reassess. I personally I'm grateful for that. You know, I'm grateful for that opportunity.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking my back. I'm not stretching for just amusement. I had a kink in my back. But anyway, yeah.
Okay, well, I wanted on a different subject. I know you talked about this a little bit last week, but I was so fascinated by what Dylan told you about that he was an alien transplant, and he went into all this detail about the Greys, what their eyes are really like, and he drew detailed pictures of their ships and talked about the purpose. What was really interesting to me is that he drew them without the eyes, which he said were just protective shields, and that's not what their eyes look like. What it really intrigued me about that is, if you look into any of the stuff about Roswell that we've talked about before, and the people who saw those aliens that were in Roswell, and then saw the results of the examinations of the bodies and stuff, said that those are shields. Those are not their eyes. So I thought that was interesting.
And see, I don't know that. I mean, I know he's just being silly, and I know he just loves to make a story.
Are you sure? Yeah.
Having said that, I think there's always underlying truth in that stuff too. And I was also kind of shocked at the detail that he went about how things were made, and about also the pecking order. He actually went into detail talking about a pecking order. And, you know, I'm waiting for the crazy silliness to come through. I'm waiting for his, you know, boy joke to pop up there, but it didn't. And even though, again, you know, please somebody, don't worry, he's a mostly normal person. You know, I think that he might be tapping into something. I think that a lot of kids are tapping into something. I think there have been a lot of people that have incarnated on the planet at this time who or maybe do not have origins on the planet, here to probe, maybe to, you know, report back to the home base, or maybe just to have an experience, or maybe this is what was available. Hey, I need a ride. The human body is the only one that gives my soul a ride to the planet, Earth-like planet. I think it could be multi tiers. My husband just came through, and I swear I think I heard him make a pshaw sound. If there's an alien in this house, that's him. He's got a lot of nerve pshawing in him.
Well, you said Dylan talked about the aliens having a pecking order. What exactly?
I can't remember, you know, I don't remember things very well, but it was like, you know, these answer to these, who answer to these kind of thing. And that who was in charge of what, that kind of thing.
I've read that the Greys are actually kind of just they're just running errands whenever they come and do.
I think that was his take on it as well. And like I said, I think he said his alien name was Frank, but it wasn't. He corrected me and said that the boss's name was Frank, or the higher up's name was, or his leader. He didn't call it his leader. The guy he reported to, I think, is Frank, and he looked a little different. And he's the one that got a lot of stuff around his eyes. I don't know.
That is really wild.
Yeah. I hope he can make some money off this stuff someday and keep me up. But anyway, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I think a lot of people, and I have told you before, I have seen people here. I tell them, you know, you're not originally from here. You might have had some lifetimes here, but it's like your energy is different, and they know it. I've never told that to anybody that didn't say that they already knew it. They already felt it. So I think it's, and as we've talked before about the native peoples who refer to themselves as real people, and
right.
They think other people are not real people. And if you look at the mythology of all these peoples on this planet, it looks like there's quite a few of us that maybe had origins elsewhere.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I do expect UFO activity, by the way, to be on the upswing. I think we're going to hear more and more stuff. I am telling you, be prepared. You know, it's everywhere, and I don't think it's going to be like a fad that's going to come in and blow over. It's been around too long. I think, again, this quarantine stuff, I believe, even, I swear, I don't know why, but I think even that's got some sort of otherworldly connection, like maybe, again, a natural thing that's happened, but maybe there's otherworldly beings that are or people here who are taking advantage of this situation for stuff that's bigger than us, you know, something to do with otherworldly beings that maybe protecting us from something. I don't know. I just cannot. I swear, I know I'm getting weird daily, but I cannot get past it. I can feel them, and I think that they are lurking, for lack of a better term, right on the fringes of us, to see what's happening. And I don't know which group, because I think there are many groups. And maybe it's time for an awakening. Maybe it's time for an awakening so we can remember. This one's supposed to say, I think, remember where we came from. Ooh, that just in. I'm going to say that and stick with it. Yeah, wow. There. Angela said something weird. Imagine that.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. I just wanted to mention something before we kind of wrap it up here. I think we should all be aware that we're in many ways, a lot of us are detoxing right now because we're detoxing from things that we were involved in every day, or every week, our routines. We could be detoxing from foods that we were eating that we're not eating now. Maybe every day you were going to Starbucks and getting a coffee, and you're likely not going to fire up the coffee pot at home during the afternoon. So be sure you're drinking plenty of water and resting and stuff. And just be aware that your body is doing a lot of stuff right now. We're adjusting to a lot of stuff, and we're detoxing in many, many ways. And water, especially water with lemon in it, if you can swing that, or that's something that you can drink. That would be really, really helpful. Anyway.
As you saw earlier, I'm actually drinking water, not Kool-Aid today.
Good for you.
Trying.
And I wanted to share one thing. Your liver moves out the toxins in your body. So if we are detoxing right now, there's a few points that you can kind of rub and check if they're sore. We talked about this before. The main one that I found helpful is in between the big toe and the next toe. If you go and follow those bones back to where those bones meet on your big toe and the next toe, if you rub in there, more than likely it's going to be really sore because that's a liver point. So you might just want to work in there a little bit and just help your liver a little bit.
Anyway. You say your foot?
Yes, your foot.
Can it be done to the hand as well?
I think so. I believe it's a corresponding thing, and more than likely you're going to feel some soreness there too.
Okay.
Actually, it helps anytime you want to rub here and clear out that energy. A lot of times you've got energy trapped in here in all these little webby places.
I feel like it's helpful. I really do.
Okay.
Hearing that, that's good.
Okay.
I want to tell you a story.
All right.
I want to tell you a story.
Yes. I'm sorry. I didn't hear you.
Telling you a story.
Okay. I'm ready for the story.
I might do this separately, and I'll try to make it quick. I probably told you this story before, but I'm going to tell you again. This is not original. This is a famous guy wrote this. But it's about the 3 Fridays. Do you remember me telling it to you before? I was thinking about it earlier, and I don't know why, but I'm supposed to tell it, and it's short, don't worry. But it's a famous story, and my retelling of it is, and I'll be brief, is about the Muslim cleric. And he had to do a ministry every Friday. And he was really having a hard time. He couldn't think of anything to say to his flock. So he thought and thought and thought, and he couldn't think of nothing. Well, he went down there to the mosque, and he takes his shoes off, and he goes up, and he sees all the men down below, and the women are up in the thing, and he says, ladies and gentlemen, or whatever, he says, do you know what I'm about to say to you today? No, said the men. No, said the ladies. And he says, well, why would I waste my time if you don't even know what I've got to say? So he went out, and he was in the warm sunshine, free to go to the bazaars and do all the things. Again, he was free, and he was good. Well, here Friday come around again, and again, he couldn't think of anything in the world to say. So he goes in, and he gets up there, and he says, children of Allah, do you know what I'm about to say to you? And they remembered the week before. So, yes, said the men, and yes, said the ladies. And he says, good, then I don't have to repeat it. And he leaves, and he's free again. He escaped again. And then finally the 3rd Friday come in, and he gets up there. And he had nothing to say. Couldn't think of a word to say. So he says again, children of Allah, do you know what I'm about to say to you? Well, some of them remembered last week, and they said no, and some remember the other week, yes, and the ladies, no, and yes. And he says, good. All of you that do know, tell all the ones that don't know, and I will see you next Friday. And again, he escaped into the sunshine. That just made me think about, I think sometimes people will turn to you, me, or the internet, and people a lot smarter than us, a lot more educated than us. And a lot of times, it's like it just isn't going to fit. And I think that sometimes we have to kind of talk to each other. What is your experience? What have you learned? Tell me how you are. And then maybe I will tell you how I am. And then I think sometimes by sharing and not depending on maybe, some big pronouncement from on high, but by sharing our own pain, sharing our own experiences, talking to one another, we can maybe learn something that we would have not learned before. So maybe sometimes not knowing and just trying to go through the trying to go through it all could maybe help us get to a place we might not have gone to otherwise. Anyway, that was it.
Okay. All right. Very good. Very good. Anything else you want to add before we sign off?
See you next week, I hope, and try to stay safe and healthy and all that. And I'm so grateful for anybody that actually wanted to actually sit through this and share if you want to. And again, you can always go to my website, AngelaFaymore.com, or you can go to my YouTube page or whatever. And thank you for listening.
And you do phone sessions, right?
Yeah, I do during this time. I've been doing them now. I've been doing phone sessions for 27 years, so nothing new there, but a lot of people might not know that. And so I will absolutely. Some people ask me if I'll Skype and stuff, and I really prefer not to. I think I do better if I don't look at somebody sometimes. I can just close my eyes and lay on the couch, or, I can do it in my vagina. I'm more comfortable, and you want me to be comfortable when you're talking to me. And so, I do the phone and whatnot, and even email and text on occasion.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully in the very near future, I'll be back over there doing.
I hope so. I miss you. I really do. It's hard. It's hard. And now I think I want to take a nap because I was up all night. People are maybe having some difficulty sleeping. My kid did, which means he's awake. I'm awake. But anyway, take a nap, people. It's good for you. It is good for you.
Ellen was awake all night. She didn't sleep hardly at all, I think. But I slept like a log.
You make me sick. I would have slept like a log if other people had not been waking me up. Okay. Anyway, I guess that's good, Bill.
All right. Well, I'm gonna turn it off here, and I'll call you about the instructions or the password to upload it to YouTube. Okay.
If we can, otherwise you'll have to do it. And I think you are going to be doing it. And as I've said 100 times, love you, and I love you people that are watching. I just do. All righty.
Bye.
Bye.